Hey guys, Brian,
It's Noah.
and we are Forever and Fools.
Yeah, so Growing Pains is the name of the album, and it's a culmination of music that I've written over the last 5 years or even longer. One of the songs is even upwards of 10 years old now, and it just tells my story personally of struggle between where I was in a lot of darkness and hopelessness to now overcoming that, and the struggle and turmoil that comes with growing. The album starts with a song called Save Me. This is the oldest track on the album. It takes me back. It's actually the first song that I fully produced start to finish. I had written the songs before that on an acoustic guitar or piano, but they were just regurgitation of worship lyrics and things like that I heard in my church or heard on the radio. But this was the first song that I sat down and wrote something that really meant something to me personally, like really hit me hard. And over the years, I'd released a couple different versions of it, and none of them stuck. And I deleted them, pulled them back, and redid it again and again and again until this time around, I recreated it from scratch again with Brian and his input, and
It just grew into this beautiful blossomed flower that represents us together as a cohesion and cohesive, just project that I came in and just felt what he was coming from, and just drew that inspiration into the music.
yeah. And even musically,
So great.
it fits as the first track on the album because of the energy and the just drama that it brings, but also thematically and the time in my life that I wrote it. It fits perfectly to be the first song on the album, introducing the struggle that is to come.
Literally from front to back, it's almost like this is the story of us and how you can save me, to how now we've learned that this is a part of the growing process and that there are going to be growing pains.
And then the second song on the album is My Apologies, and this song kind of follows up Save Me very well, where Save Me is a song about asking for help, crying out for help, save me from the things that I've brought upon my life. And then My Apologies immediately follows that up with I say I'm sorry about all these stupid things that I do to other people in my life, but is it genuine? I'm just apologizing to rid myself of consequences. It's just a cover story. It's just trying to make me look better. Is it really a genuine apology? And so that song is a self-reflection of that.
Yeah.
And even
Absolutely.
musically, it leans into this very happy and energetic and fun vibe that seems to be a cover story for the deeper lyrics. So even musically, it checks out.
It does. It has that like you said, the energy that it brings. It just gives that complete freaking energetic, ready to get on board and just jump up and down. But then again, you listen to the lyrics and it's I'm apologizing, but yet really are my apologies sincere? And I'm gonna speak on the percussion part of things. When I heard this song, I was just it's so electronic, and it has so much vibe with an 808 or a freaking with a good bass line, and it just had so much power within it. This has so much energy, and I just felt that I was what can I bring to this on the drums? And I definitely feel with his process of writing, it's a cohesiveness. We just freaking mashed.
And then it does those two songs that kind of work well together, and then the next two, Salt and Falsify, they kind of work together in a similar messaging, where Salt talks about how I'm not who I'm supposed to be, and Falsify talks about who I'm not supposed to be. But Salt talks about not being the things that I should be, and Falsify talks about being the things that I'm not supposed to be. And so I'm setting myself up with all these things, chasing fame, fortune, money, status. And Salt is I'm not acquiring all the things that I should. And so that's kind of a double header in meaning.
It is.
And even musically, they fit quirkily together. They both have their unique styles, and one's a little more funky and groovy, and one's a little more vibey and slow.
And the perceptions that you're gonna grab off of this, I hope, is the same, because that's what we were feeling when we did it, and the energy that we put into it. It's just you're gonna see that there's so much relative, they're so close in the meaning, but they obviously have their own purpose. So Salt in itself speaks about what he had spoken on, but Falsify, it's falsely living in life and not being true to yourself, and not really being focused on the true meanings and purpose of life. You're thinking about gold, you're thinking about money, you're thinking about women, you're thinking about the sins that the world is giving you, but you're not thinking of the right, truthful pathway they should be taking.
Cry me a river, build me.
Crimea River, build me up a bridge and get over yourself. You're such a quitter. You need to like play with the cards you've been dealt, because you're not given just like you're not just given the perfect hand every time. You might be served some twos, a pair of twos, and someone's got some aces and they got a flush. You know what I mean? Or whatever plan, you know. So what I'm getting at is like, understand that there is this thing that we can look up to, whether it's a spiritual thing or whatever. You could reach out and feel that impactfulness, whatever. There's a power in this world, and it's called energy, and music brings that out. And I really think that's why we're musicians, because at least I am, because I know that helps me. What's the right word? It helps me put out the energy that I need, so it's a reflection of who I am.
Please set me free.
And then the next song on the album is Set Me Free. And Set Me Free, it's a moment in time where I start to realize that I need, going back to the song Save Me, as I need someone to set me free and save me from the things that I've brought upon my life, but in a slightly different light, where I realize that I'm not sure if I want to be saved. Like I'm taking that first step, but I'm anxious, and I don't know if I want to be, I don't know if I want to overcome this problem, because I don't know what's on the other side of it.
You don't know, and you don't want to take that next step because there's consequences and things that you do and the choices that you make. And it's like, if you just make that wrong choice, sometimes you feel like you have to take a leap of faith.
It's a simple prayer.
The next song on the album is A Simple Prayer, and A Simple Prayer is just that.
It is.
I kind of reached a moment in this progression, and again, this is very much so a reflective story of my actual experience, and so I reached a moment where I do need that help that I talk about and Set Me Free and Save Me, and it's just me finally realizing, okay, whatever that looks like, I need this to change, and I want you to give me another chance. Me in this song specifically talking to God, like I need another chance to fulfill the plan that you have for me. Lead me into the things that you need for me and you plan for my life, and just I don't care what that looks like. I need to finally overcome this struggle.
And then that's like drawing back to the last song, and then like now saying that we were scared to be able to go to that next step, and then now we're saying that we got to take that step to fulfill your plan and see what comes with it.
And then the next song up is Nightmare, and it's a switch. It's a nice switch in theme and rhythm and tempo and vibe, and it immediately picks up to this groovy kind of funk beat, and it's just this metaphor of I'm living in my own nightmare that I've built for myself. And this is a common theme, like I've done this to myself, right? And I'm living in this nightmare where I am the victim and the killer. Like I'm running from myself. I'm the one causing all this issue in my life and bringing on the difficulty. And I don't know what to do with this, and I'm confused, and but the only thing that I can do is bow down before the throne of God.
And to whatever your higher power, whether it is like going towards whatever, just know that when you take that step, you're going towards something that's like uncontrollable. You have no control over that, and that could be a scary thing.
Everybody says they gotta pick it up around you.
Momentum is the next song, and this is actually a song that Brian brought to me, and just an instrumental idea that he brought to me and said, I think this is right up our alley, and this is something that we can use.
Let me speak on this real quick, because see, like, this is before we'd even met, and like I just played something and I was like, this hit my heart. I felt like I was in a bad spot, and I just really felt like I was crying when I wrote this, and it was a slower song at that time, because I had wrote it at a slower pace because I felt like I was dragging. Noah says, well, we were sitting there, I'm like, what if we turn this BPM up about 40? And we did it, and it just made this energy of like me being like able to actually get through. So that shows, like, if you're in a bad spot, keep the momentum going and keep going. Don't give up. Keep that momentum going. Because if you're gonna get through this wall that you're trying to get and break through, or whatever your obstacle and metaphorical statement that you're gonna get through, you got to get through it. And that's where the momentum part comes.
And immediately when we started deliberating on the idea and the concept, I talked about like riding a bike, and like in order to maintain your balance riding a bike, you got to continue pressing on. The faster you go, actually the easier it is to maintain that balance. And so you need to lean into the momentum and the inertia of your movement so that you maintain the balance and continue on the trajectory that you're on.
Yeah.
And I thought
That's
that
completely right.
even turning up the tempo of the song, like we're leaning into the energy and leaning into, like
Correct.
it all fits so well together. Like God is doing something here on this song.
It had energy to it, and
'Cause-
it's like I was dragging, like I said, and then he brings this like idea of this like, let's go a little bit faster on this, let's try it, drum
Well,
to it, and it's like boom.
Yeah, so I started to build upon the track, and we weren't even turning up the tempo at that point.
No.
I had the little bass line written, I had the piano written, and it was kind of getting that groove to it, but we're like,
Yeah.
man, I don't know if we even want to use this. We tossed it out of the way for a while, and we brought it back up, like, hey, we're hitting the end of the road here, a dead end here creatively. We need to explore some ideas.
Yes.
We brought it back up, and he's trying to drum to it, and we both kind of look at each other like, does this need to be faster? And so we turned it up like 10 or 20 BPM or
Yeah.
something like that, and we're like, this is it, and he's drumming to it,
And I'm hitting
and
it.
I come up with the chorus right there on the spot, or at least the melody for it, and and like from there the idea was born, and it kind of just fell into place.
Yeah.
Turning up that tempo and the energy and leaning into the movement of the song was really what completed the song's musical idea, which ironically fulfilled the lyrical idea that we had.
And
It's
it's
like God
weird.
works in so many awesome ways.
It's awesome. Like, yeah, it's weird I said, but it's awesome because, like I said, like this is in the middle of the album, kind of. It places right in the middle, and it's like we like grew together in that sense, and it's like a growing experience. I keep bringing that up, man.
Now that I have it, I'll never let go.
Like, now the next song is
The next song is Never Gonna Let It Go.
Never
we
Gonna.
shortened it to Never Gonna because Never Gonna Let It Go is a mouthful.
just like YDNML.
But Never Gonna, it's a song about now that I'm picking up this momentum, now that I'm moving, now that I'm finding this place where I'm not lost in my own depressive mess, and I'm not lost in my own addiction and struggle, and in like there's still parts of that, and it's always going to be a part of the human condition. But now that I found this moment that I'm no longer like going downhill, I'm starting to climb back up the hill, and I'm seeing the progress that's made, and I'm picking up the steam, and I'm picking up the momentum. I'm looking back, and I'm like, now that I'm getting a hold of all this, that
Yeah.
I'm finding hope, I'm finding healing, I'm finding restoration in God. I don't want to let that go. I don't want to, cling on to what's behind me. I want to hold on to what it is I'm walking into in this new season of my life. And that's that kind of, it starts off slow, where like I'm having this beautiful moment of like, man, whatever this looks like ahead of me, like I'm walking into this, and I'll throw anything away, all the struggle, all the hurt, just to hold on to what's coming forward. And then it just gets so energetic and passionate, like I'm never gonna let it go, and it's full of movement and power and passion in the rest of the song.
It does have its build. It definitely does. And as a percussionist, I felt like when I added those toms and I added the rising effect, well, that was the expression of what I feel. I'm like, I don't know if you feel this way, but when I feel as if this music, when I'm doing my part, I'm not really going from like this. I'm going from my heart. Like everything I'm doing, I'm feeling it in my gut, and it's like almost like it has to come out. Like whatever it is, it's like my heart. It's like everything in my mind and everything in my soul is like it just makes sense. So when you talk about never letting go, right? There's so many things that I have not let go of still to this day that I'm working on, but this song, it's like when I play it, I feel like I'm releasing all of this because it's such a powerful meaning of it. It's so much power, and it just like you said, like it starts off with this like engaging process in the beginning where you're just engaged in your own mind, and then it goes into the chorus. It just slams.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
'Cause you don't need my love.
And then YDNML. Next song.
You Don't Need My
YDNML.
Love.
You don't need it, my love.
Yeah, and
what
it's-
your perception or what our perception of it. It was our first one we released, right?
Yeah.
And why do you think that was the first one you released? Just overall, like just speaking on
It
that.
was very well done already as it was.
It was like the first.
And I wrote it very. It was right around the time that you and I were starting to
To
talk.
Save
and hang
Me,
out,
the first
and-
song was 10 years old.
Yeah.
And this song is just
It's
like
one of the
when we
newer
first
ones,
met.
and
yeah.
that was like very fresh, and it was an awesome song,
But yeah.
powerful. It had some of the best of my vocals and some
Yeah.
of my best song lyricism. As far it's simple but very beautiful, well done, I think.
It's simple in its own way.
Yeah, but
It's
it just
what
it,
it needs.
it fell together in that moment where you and I hadn't shown you the song while I was
No.
working on it because we weren't that close yet. But
Nope.
it fell together so well, and when I showed it to you, and
I
you're
was
like, "Wow,
like,
this
oh my
is
gosh,
great! You need to release this, and how can I help you with it?" And at the time, you didn't even realize that was an invitation
Dude,
for you to be in the band.
I didn't even know,
And
but
I'm
I was like, I have to do
I've got
this
this
kind of
song,
thing.
and I want you to come and join me in releasing this song and start something awesome.
Yeah.
And you're like, let's do it. And
I was like, dude, I'm on board on this. Like, and I didn't have any hesitations because I could just feel it. I just knew it in my gut. That's what I mean. That's what I mean, man. Like, I could just seriously say, like,
yeah.
when I hear the music, I'm just like, okay, this is what I can do. This is what I want to do, and this is where I'm gonna want to go. And you don't need my love. Like, it is like, it was meaning in so many different ways. Like, from my past with love in general, and then also with God and with my relationship with everybody, every love, the situation, my parents.
I mean, that's the way that love is.
It's a very broad
It's
thing.
super forgiving. It's
Yeah.
relentless. Like a genuine love.
You
Doesn't
would
matter
never
if it's
give
a
up.
spouse, it's your child, it's God, whoever it is around you.
Yeah.
Like the genuine, deep love, it forgives beyond measure, beyond anything
Need
you
and
deserve.
want.
And so when someone looks at me and says they love me despite my failures, despite the fact that I'm imperfect and I screw up and I make mistakes and I'm constantly thinking I'm not worthy of your love, but you still say you love me and you want me to love you in return despite how screwed up I am. Wow.
That's a powerful thing, man, because like love is unconditional. The thing when I was speaking on was, you don't need my love, but you want it anyways.
Yeah.
You don't need it, but you want. That's a hard line. Like, you can't go without saying like that is like an impactful statement.
To circle back to your original question of why that was the first song,
Yeah.
is I guess when I
It's a good.
was starting to talk with you, I didn't realize fully what this project would end up becoming. At the time, that was just the freshest, the
It
newest
was.
song, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Let's
Got
put
it
it
on
out
the radio.
there.
Got it
And
on
then
the
as
radio, and just-
we were on the radio, and to date, it's our best performing song. And
Yeah.
then we realized, we looked at each other, all right, this can actually be something.
Yeah.
And so we're like, what is this going to look like? And so we started piecing together some song ideas, and that he threw Momentum at me at the time, and we were piecing together what the album would end up becoming.
Live.
And YDNML, it's a little bit different musically and sonically than a lot of the other songs, and there's some elements that help tie it together a little bit, but
I like its independence.
it was a good precursor to the rest that come to the album.
Raise your swords 'cause it is time we
And the next song in the album kind of follows up. It's called Jericho. And over the last couple songs, it's more optimism, more hope, more excitement for what it is to come. And so Jericho is this song of, now that I've found this hope and I'm not going to let it go. Now that I've found all that and it's moving me so much, now I want to fight for that. I will go to war for this. I will, and whether that's your wife, that's your God, that is, whatever that is.
That's love.
When you find something that's that impactful and moving in your life, you will do anything to fight for that. Like I will go to war for you. I'll tear these walls down, and I will
Especially being
see.
parent or anything like that, is me having my own relationship with my nephew or whoever.
Yeah.
It's like, the feeling when you say I will die for you. Like, that is a big statement, and someone did that for us, and we know who that is.
Yeah,
And his
and
name is Jesus Christ, and that is nothing we can deny. He did do it. He did it. I mean, it's history. We can't deny that, and that's something like, you can't look at that like he's a superhero.
yeah,
And like, I just look at it like, man, whether you know or you don't know what Jesus is, like, just know that like when you feel the feeling of like that rush of like love and wanting something, and you would protect it with your life, and you love something that much and deeply, that's what he wants.
like I just look back at how unfaithful and horrible and wicked and stupid I've been, and I mean, again, these self-reflective concepts are in the entire, the entirety of the album. It's not
Yeah.
even just the first half. It's not even one bit.
And we
the
didn't even
entire
talk.
album reflects on the stupidity of who I am, the fact that I don't want to
Stup-
change, the fact that I need help, and like the fact that Jesus Christ would die on the cross to say, I will pay the wage that you
Your
owe.
sin.
I will go to prison. I will take I'll take the death sentence.
all
for
your
you.
debts and all your freaking
Like-
burdens, and just give it to him and let him carry
And we
that.
don't. And the funny thing is, we
Like,
don't even have to look at that and make.
You own it.
We don't have to make these comparisons. We don't have to like try to paint a picture of like, well,
Yeah.
look at it this way with this other person in your life. Just look at this as Jesus Christ did in fact exist, and he did in fact die, claiming to take the sins of our life, or taking the punishment for all of our sins, and knowing that he came to take the punishment for our sins.
The wage of sin is death. So
Like,
without
it's
that, we would-
physically, like I don't even have to draw comparisons because that's a true reality that he did.
it's a historical fact. And like, I mean, everyone in the world that isn't a Christian out there, listen to this music as an inspiration to just do better.
Yeah.
Aim for the freaking stars, my friends,
But-
my fans, my forevers. Be with me. But I will say, if you find him and Jesus Christ and your Savior, and you say his name, I do believe that you will always you will feel peace in their mind, because your burdens and your worries, those you can hand off, like, and you may still have them, but know that it's in his hands.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the difference between happiness and joy. Happiness is it's a state of existence in one moment, but joy triumphs over the struggle or the moment that you're in.
Yeah.
So if one moment I'm struggling and I'm like, finances aren't in check, there's chaos around my finances, and like I don't know how I'm gonna pay this bill,
Yeah.
the joy will tell me, even if you don't have that figured out, God is there with you. Like,
You're gonna-
the God of the universe that created the trees and the birds and laid his life down so that you can wipe your slate clean time and time again. No matter how much you messed up, he will wipe your slate clean, and he loves you. And like, that's when joy comes.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, despite the fact that
Free
even
of-
through the album, I'm not broken free of all of my struggle.
No,
it's still
you
there.
choose to be in
But
it.
knowing that he's wiped my slate clean time and time again, even as I tell the story of this album, like, I want to go to war for that. I want to see the fullest of his kingdom restored, but I also want to see what he has in store for me. So I will fight not only for what he'll do for me, but what he wants to do for the rest of the world. And so that's really the story of Jericho.
I run in circles.
Circles, it's talking about just the fact that I'll wander in circles. I will repeatedly walk through the same struggle over and over and over again, and I'll continue to wander away from God. Like, going back to the metaphor of Jericho that just before this song, like, they wandered the desert for 40 years in order to get to this promised
Dude.
land. And so, like, I will wander the desert for 40 years,
I've went in
walking
circles.
just to eventually find myself back at the feet of God every single time. Because
Every
no
time.
matter how much of the wandering in circles, I will never be able to wander in circles enough to find myself worthy of God. That's not what gets me there. The walking in circles, trying again and again and again and again to be perfect, is never going to get me anywhere, because I am a messed up human
You
being.
can't be perfect.
And so I can't be
You're,
perfect.
You're flesh.
And so it's not anything about what I can do. It's about what Jesus Christ did for me on the cross. It's the
Yeah.
fact that that despite all of the wandering in circles and wandering a desert, hoping that I can find my way to the promised land because I want to do it my way instead of God's way, he still says, do that for a little while to learn your lesson, and then I
a
will
while.
and then I will help you after I feel like you've learned your lesson, guide you in the right direction by my will, not your own.
You know what? There's people that have cancer. There's people that have addiction problems. There's people that are sitting there and going back and forth they overtake their medications every time month. I've heard that story from my friends. There's overdoses. They keep going back to the same thing, and they don't figure out that way, and they don't end up on the other side. You got to keep going with, but some people don't make it all the way around the circle. So let's make this circle united with a good purpose and a good person, and that is Jesus Christ. And we
Yeah.
can connect through Jesus Christ to God. And if you want to be spiritual about it, you can.
Well, and
but
that's
I've been through circles of hell.
that's the beautiful thing, is that the
Like,
gospel of Christianity is
forgive me.
that despite the circle that you wander through,
I did.
like the gospel does not teach that you will stop wandering in that circle. It doesn't promise that you're not going to struggle, that you're not going to have sins, you're not going to have mistakes. What it tells you is that in spite of the fact that you will mess up time and time and time again, no matter who you are, what your vice is, it could be sexual addiction, it could be drugs, it could be money, it could be relationship, attention, whatever that is for you, that you're continuing to walk in a
Phone.
different direction. A phone addiction, man.
I mean, the weirdest things like that we just like with our president and Donald Trump, right? We're getting shot, like knowing that, like, look at that, that's a big mess. Like, those people are like trying to they're going in circles, trying to, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, the world, everything around us is like, we can only live in ourselves and do what we can do best. So like, let's focus on ourselves to see what we can do, and not focus on everybody else, because if you try to solve everybody's problems, you're not going to get
And that's the
anywhere.
beautiful thing, is that like you're
Do best
walking
for yourself.
you're walking in the circle time and time and time again, and you're never gonna get out of that circle, because
It's like a corn maze.
it's a corn maze that only goes in a circle, and you're
Yeah.
never gonna find your way out. And the only way you could even possibly find your way out of it
Someone
is that Jesus
pulls you
Christ
out.
would opt to reach in and pull you out and pull you into eternity.
Correct.
Like there's nothing that I can do to save myself and walk myself out of that cement wall of the circular maze that I can't dig myself out of this.
I mean,
wonder myself out
we,
of this.
we literally built a wall around ourselves so no one could get inside. That is the lyrics on our album. We protect ourselves, and that is normal. Like, building a wall around yourself so no one can get inside. No one can hear me, and I'm screaming, and then I need help, and just like coming back to that, and then being able to realize that this circle that we need something to help us get out of this.
Yeah, and
That could be that love that you're looking for, and the love could be the eternity that you're looking for.
So Circles is
another-
it's a look back over the entirety of the album, where I realized that I have walked in circles.
You're like going back in nostalgia, like you're going back and reminiscing on
it's-
things that you've already said and done.
And I have walked in circles, and I realized that it doesn't matter what I can do. I'm gonna continue to give apologies. I'm gonna continue to cry out for help. I'm gonna continue to have moments where I want to fight and fight for God. I'm gonna have moments where I'm gonna just continue to walk in the cycle and the circle of this album that's laid out in front of us.
Yeah.
And only to find out that it's never gonna get me anywhere, because it's not about what I can do, it's about what Jesus Christ did for me. And so then it leans into the final song on the album, which is Growing Pains, the title track for the album.
But who I will become is something so much greater than
It starts off, I see you out there. I see you, God, who you are and everything that you've been for me. And I know that I can't compare. Like you are the calm inside the storm. You are like this peace that I cannot possibly muster up. And it's like the
God,
chorus then
dude.
leans into, because I see you and everything that you are and everything that you've been for me, I know that I can't compare, because everything that I could possibly become, anything that I will become, isn't something that I can do for myself. It's not something that I can make myself into. It's not something that I can bring forth in my life. Everything that I am to be in God is something that I have to let Him work out for me. And so it follows up
struggle.
circles, that He's the one who has to pluck me out of that circle. And it finishes off that, man, like this earth is shaking, my soul is shaking, like everything, like there's just so much impact in my heart right now, because like everything
You're
around
embracing
me
the struggle.
is being shaken in front of me. And it all just reminds me, like this shaking and this chaos and like this profound moment. It's like, it's just reminding me that all these growing pains, all of this struggle, all of everything that I'm going through the course of this album, it's all for the glory of God. It's all for edifying Him, and it's all to point me towards the one who guides me. It's all to point me towards the one who will eventually pull me permanently out of that struggle and bring me into heaven and release me of the struggle that I'm always going to feel on this earth.
Without Him, you will never find your full peace and full strength. You will never be able to be at your full capacity. Which everybody, you know what? I think the worst thing to do on this earth is to live without purpose. And I want everyone that is listening to this message, this album is for you. It's for you to listen to and for you to do your own personal growth through it. I want you to grow with us and like grow in forever and knowing what that means. So be our forever fans, knowing that we're here for you. If you ever need anything, we'll be here for you. And we don't do just music, we do life, and that's what this is about. We created something that breathes, music that breathes and actually is alive, in the feeling and the things that it gives you and the emotions, so that you can get the tools you need in order to feel and learn and to be able to grow into what we need to become forever. So with that, I'm Brian Smith, the drummer, and then this is
Noah Reineke, vocalist.
and we are Forever Unfolds. And thank you for listening to us on this interview about this album, and I'm excited for you to listen to it. And Noah, on the closing statement, what do you feel? And let them know.
Yeah, check out the album August 2nd. It's a very big deal for me. Very
Big deal.
impactful moment in time for me because I'm sharing a lot of my struggle, and I hope that people can resonate with it and find hope and healing through the avenues that I found hope and healing, because I feel like
Absolutely, man.
it's the right way to go.
It is the right way to go.
But Forever
Yeah.
Unfolds, Growing Pains, August 2nd.
Check it out, August 2nd.